Alright everyone, welcome back. Draskyl here once again. Another day, another replay. This time we're doing a replay analysis of an Alchemist. This is on behalf of a friend of mine. Just asked me to go over the game, tell me his thoughts. Gonna try to coach him through it, help him improve. This is kind of going to be focused towards finding farm. I mean, Alchemist is a very farm-driven hero, and you kind of want to amass as much gold as you can in the shortest amount of time. So obviously this game, as most of the replays that I like to do, is going to be a loss. So I don't want to, spoiler alert. But what we're going to try to do is talk about where he's farming, where he could be, the laning phase, item progression, stuff like that. So we're going to go ahead and get started. And Alchemist is a very, very strong hero right now, if you guys aren't aware. I would say it's probably one of the easiest heroes in Dota to climb with, just in general, because at every single bracket, let's say barring like high immortal players, people play very, very inefficient Dota. They don't hit creeps enough, they buy the wrong items, they make bad plays. One of the best ways to win the game is just by being consistently high net worth. Just every game, have lots of gold, have all your items at like 30 minutes as an Alchemist, and be able to just do everything yourself. Because the chances that everyone in the enemy team is going to play like optimally and punish you every single game, very low. There's a very, very low chance of that. So, a little bit of a fight breaking out at bot rune. We saw quite a few heroes there.
Thanks and have fun.
We're going to stay at our rune. We have 3 bots, so the chances of us being able to contest, it's not great. It's not a rune that we're probably going to want to fight for. And it is going to be a Terrorblade and an Ursa up there, so it looks like our Brew was not able to get the rune, which is fine because we still get bottom and we still got first blood. So we didn't lose anything there. That's good. Since we actually had to physically pick up the bounty rune ourselves, we don't get a block. And we're going to see our lane opponent here in just a second. And he does have a block. Unfortunately, this guy has actually overblocked his lane, which can be, in a lot of cases, it can be detrimental. I would say as far as an individual lane matchup, Legion versus Alch, I'd say the Legion is probably a good matchup for you because it's high base damage, taking quite a few auto attacks here. Yeah, high base damage hero, has a heal, pretty much impossible to trade with. You're going to run into a lot of matchups like this as Alch, where you feel like in the lane, you're not really able to do a whole heck of a lot. Like, you can't trade, you're not really going to ever bully the enemy hero out of the lane, and that's fine. That's completely acceptable if you can't, like, crush the guy in lane as Alchemist. It's not really what this hero's for. So the fact that our mid lane is one where we're probably going to be pressured a bit, that's normal. I actually think there's very few heroes in Dota that can't pressure Alchemist in lane. So, we hit our level 2. We get our acid spray. We probably should be thinking about getting our healing salve out, like, now. Like, we're waiting quite a long time. We have 700 gold. We could buy 1, maybe 2 salves if absolutely needed, because having already discussed that this lane is probably going to be kind of tough in order for us to stay alive, better to already have the regeneration on us than having to wait for the courier. So like right now, we're at like 20 to 30% health, and we're going to buy our Wraith Band and we're going to buy our salve, because we're doing it after we've already lost the health. So by just having it out, like as soon as you get the bounty rune, you just, boom, you buy that healing salve, or you buy 2, right? Because you're Alchemist, and you can afford to actually get more than 1. So if you know your lane matchup, and you say, oh, this is going to be a hard lane, then you can just send out 2. And if you think it's going to be an easy lane, then you can just send out 1, and then go for your Aquila after the fact. We probably could have gotten at least one of the range creeps there, if we were paying close enough attention. Our skill build's fine. We're getting some harassing while he's standing under the acid spray, that's good. But we don't really want to make harassing, like, a priority in this lane. Our priority is always to hit the creeps. We push the wave, we try to push him maybe under the tower so we can get the lane equilibrium back. Alright, we're going to pause here. Now, I want you to notice that this guy just doesn't even care that there are creeps, right? Like, this guy does not care. He's got 2 points in overwhelming odds. He's got his press the attack. He's got moment of courage. You cannot trade. Even if he has a full wave on him, you still can't trade. So you're basically in a situation where when your lane is pushed out like that, and he's just like kind of chilling here, you have a couple of options. So it's 42 seconds in. We could go throw an acid spray on this camp and stack it. We could throw one here. We could stack the ancients for later. This one is probably not as good. But if I'm Radiant side, I want to think about acid spraying down here. You can quelling this one brightly colored tree, and that will make it so that the creeps path directly out of it, making it easier to stack. And then later on, once you get like the third point into acid spray, or you get the chemical rage, you can just kill a stack, right? That's more gold. Because right now, this is just downtime. We've killed the wave, but we can't do anything else after the wave is dead. So once the wave dies, in order to be maximum efficiency, we need to run here. We wait for the, you know, whatever the stack time is for this camp. I think it's like 55 if you pull it straight up. It's kind of difficult, but, you know, you can get it with a little bit of practice. But yeah, you run down there. Your acid spray is going to be up in 3 seconds. The next wave is on the way, but it's actually more gold to stack this camp than just wait for the next wave, right? It seems tempting, but I'm going to explain something really important about Alchemist that a lot of people just, they don't get it. It does not matter if you are hitting lane creeps on Alchemist. The lane creeps are just more EXP. If you hit jungle creeps, you hit more creeps. Now, if we look at Greevil's Greed, this thing caps out at level 4 being 32 bonus gold per kill, okay? That is completely unrelated to the base value of whatever the creep gives. So for a normal hero, hitting lane creeps is always the most efficient because you can get the most amount of gold per creep. But because of Greevil's Greed, even killing like a satyr camp, or a golem camp, or a troll camp where they summon little skeletons, those actually give you more GPM than a lane creep ever will, because there's just more of them. And you can also get through them faster. So when you stack that camp, you're giving yourself more gold later, where you might miss a little bit of it now. And plus, you can't trade. So we've identified that we can't trade. We need to be efficient with our time. We might miss, like, you know, a handful of CS in lane by stacking, but that money comes back to us later, and it pays off more. So always remember that showing in the lane is something that is important, but as Alchemist specifically, a lot of the time it's better to just hit the jungle creeps, especially when your lane's tough. Most of the time, you're going to get bullied out of your lane. Most of the time, you're going to be, you know, 5-6 minutes into the laning phase, and you're going to say, Jesus, I just can't be here anymore. And that's when you just head to the jungle. Alright, so our Mirana's here. There was a fairly questionable arrow. Go back to player cam. But it helps us get some CS, so not a big deal. We have our Aquila now, I believe. And at this point, you know, the Legion probably kind of close to level 5. We're going to throw our acid spray on this creep wave. Ideally, what we want to do is just push it out. If you're in a matchup where you know you can't, like, harass the guy, then you want to push the wave as hard as you can always. Like, just drop that spray instantly. Don't even hesitate. Because ultimately, we've already figured out what ends up happening if the guy has creeps on him and you try to harass then. It doesn't even work. Like, the guy doesn't care. So we're getting some more regen. Gonna be ferrying it out here in just a second. I would even contemplate maybe getting a mango or two, just to make sure that you consistently have enough mana for those acid sprays. Because being able to acid spray off cooldown is what allows you to shove the wave. And if you can't shove the wave, then stuff's gonna get real hairy for you real quick. So again, we have some downtime. We could be walking to the medium camp. We could be walking to our triangle. Looks like our Mirana's actually going to land an arrow. That's a very good kill for us, honestly. There is, like, no way that guy should be dying, but he did. So, you know. Unexpected things are going to happen in your Dota game. Sometimes it's going to be good, sometimes it's going to be bad. This one just happens to be, like, really, really good for us. So we have a mango still. It's about 37 seconds in. We're going to want to start thinking about stacking. Or if we do want to stack. Also, it's going to be 5 minutes, which means we need bounty runes. If you can, you would want to be pinging your teammates and be like, can you guys please secure, like, the bounty runes top lane, for example? That won't be very easy. But, like, right here... Alright, so let's look at the situation. Can't trade. I think we're going to acid spray, like, right now. But if we go to free cam, we can see, like, player perspective. Actually, wait, I think I have to hit play to see it all. Okay, there we go. So, like, there's no one here. There's no one here. There's no one here. And there's no one here. The bounty runes spawn in 3 seconds. Now, level 2 Grieval's Greed gives us a 2.5 multiplier on every single bounty rune that we get. And in a lane where, you know, we're not really doing too hot in the trade category, we push the wave out, like, prior to the 5-minute mark, so we would have ideally dropped our acid spray immediately. And then, when this wave is dead and this guy's just sitting over here farming on that side of the wave, cool. You know, I walk up here, I get my bounty rune, maybe I even have enough time to stack this medium camp, maybe I stack the large camp, and, you know, I've gotten more out of my time. By standing here and, like, hitting this guy, we're not really getting anything. We're kind of just, we're hitting him for the sake of hitting him. But this guy is power. Like, we ain't killing this guy. We're going to need another arrow. We're going to need, like, maybe even multiple people to come mid and, in order to kill this guy. So, again, an efficiency thing. How much time we're spending in the lane. As a general rule, and this isn't for just Alchemist either, the way that you win mid, and again, this is for like every single hero, there's like 2 main ways you can do it. You can do it by out-harassing, and you can also do it by shoving, okay? Now, shoving just refers to, I'm going to push this wave in, and you're going to have to deal with the creeps because all your creeps are dead. So like right now, we have a mango, we have spray. If I acid spray this, it's going to eventually die. And if it dies faster, and there's more of my creeps alive than his, that means that he might feel like he has to back, or at the very least, that wave will already be dead, so there will be no reason for us to be here anymore. And as soon as that reason dissipates, we can decide if we want to go somewhere else. If we want to kill a jungle camp, if we want to go for the shrine maybe. Both shrines are up right now, we're kind of low on mana. You know, do we want to buy some items and ferry out more regen? Looks like we got a clarity here. We're pretty close to 6 at this point. I think it would be fine to just get a mango. As a general rule, mangoes are much better for the lane because they do not regenerate mana over time, and clarities can really only be used nowadays when roaming or jungling. So if you're sitting in the lane as much as we have been this game, then we're going to want a mango over a clarity. Okay. So this guy is 6. It's getting kind of scary. This is the point where I would just completely abandon the lane. Like, I would have sprayed this, I would have left, and I would have not looked back. And there's a couple of reasons for that. One, it's a level 6 Legion, which means she can duel me and crowd control me for, you know, a pretty good amount of time. This Mirana is actually, like, saving our game so hard right now. Oh, he didn't actually die. It would have been huge if that was a kill. Our acid spray was a touch late. If we had reacted as soon as the arrow hit, I'm pretty confident that guy would have just died again. And that would have been our 6. That is actually an enormous kill that we missed there, just because of a little bit of a reaction lapse. But yeah, if we do that again, and we spray like the second he gets arrowed, he dies. And then we'd have Chemical Rage right now, and our lane would be looking super good. Like, all things considered, you know, we're still sitting at like 25 CS at 6 minutes. It's not amazing, but again, it's Alchemist, so your net worth is still #1. Even when you feel like your laning phase isn't going well, we're still getting a good amount of net worth. Alright, so we're kind of walking around, not really sure what we want to do. This is the point where we could potentially just be going for more stacking. We have Chemical Rage as well. Not really much of a reason to sit on the cooldown or anything like that. But when we're in a situation like this, when the lane is completely empty, it's always ideal to just push, right? Like, just push the wave, and then you can go back. You can go back to the jungle. Like, this is what you want to see. The thing is, a lot of people have the idea that you can't do this until like level 6, but that's actually untrue, right? Like, you can do this at any point in the early game. Like, literally level 3, level 4, you can still do the same thing. You just need to be aware that if you're going to be doing it that early in the game, then you want to be buying more regen. Like, if you want to buy clarities, or you want to buy mangoes, or you want to buy tangos, you can do all of those things. And on Alchemist, it will end up being worthwhile, because you'll end up getting more gold and EXP than you would otherwise just be sitting in the lane, right? So the regeneration ends up paying for itself in the end, and plus it gets you 6 faster. So now we've got our Chemical Rage again. We're kind of trading with this guy now that we have the bonus regen. We're like, we're not scared of you anymore. That's fine. It's actually quite low. I was going to say, I don't think he dies here, but... Yeah, we do a good amount of damage to him. So, walking back to the woods. Doing the jungle camp thing. I like this. If you notice yourself being on a low amount of mana for a long period of time, again, just clarity or mango. Either one. Doesn't really matter which. Either one of them will be more than okay. But at this point, let's consider the fact that we could have probably stacked that medium camp like 3 times minimum, and that would have been a huge influx of gold. Like maybe we get 300 extra gold from that camp if it's stacked 3 times because of the Greevil's Greed. Alright, we saw the regen top for like a split second. Not sure if we actually noticed it in a game, but this is good. You know, our early game has not really been that bad. We weren't maximum efficiency, and sometimes that can be a big deal. But in this game in particular, you know, the mid lane died once, he got ganked. We got him low a second time. That one should have been a kill, but we ended up not using our acid spray fast enough. It has become apparent now that we are having a little bit of a mana issue, so we're gonna want to probably buy like, at this point, clarities are fine because we're transitioning between the lane and the wave. Or sorry, the lane and the jungle. So when you're transitioning like that, clarities are fine, because they're not going to get knocked off by the LC. But if you're just laning, then mangoes are always going to be the way to go. So, our Chemical Rage is down. This is the point in the game where now that the Legion has duel, we have to start worrying about stuff like ganks. And the heroes that were scared of ganking us, basically, Ursa and Viper are probably the 2 that are most likely to be showing up in our lane. Otherwise, we're feeling pretty good. Like, I see a lot of open map in this game to be able to just, like, soak up that farm. And yeah, we definitely should have clarities by now, if we're having this much mana issues. Like, we could Shrine a little bit earlier, maybe, for mana. And as long as we're diligent with our tread swapping, 1 or 2 clarities probably get you to level 12, and then you probably don't need them anymore for the additional regen. But if we look at the net worth, it's pretty good, right? It's not bad. Net worth's looking alright. We almost got enough money for a relic. We want to leave the lane, like, right now. Yeah, okay. There we go. Whenever our Chemical Rage is down, I want you to try to remember that it's going to be difficult to show in a lane and feel safe. Also, when that camp is dead, like right now, you should not be looking at this lane until this ability is up. If Chemical Rage is not up, you do not walk up here. You can walk over to this side, you can kill the large camp, you can kill the medium camp, you can even go for a stack. Again, it's almost 11 minutes. You could have potentially stacked the Ancients if you felt like you could kill them at some point. I'd say with a relic and 4 points and an acid spray, you should be able to pretty easily kill a 2-stack. So we miss another stack. I really hope we don't show here. Okay, we're chilling. That's good. We don't want to show in this situation because it would pretty much be death if we didn't have ult. Alright, so we kind of made a little bit of a mistake there. We used a lot of our mana. Okay, this is rough. I think he actually kills us here. Yeah. So he dies to the tower, but we die. That's one of those situations where we just don't know the limitations of our hero. And you can just simply say, we thought we were tankier than we were. And we died because we didn't know our hero limits. Those kind of deaths are okay. It was a good chance that if he didn't proc Moment of Courage as often as he did, that we probably just end up killing him there and he looks really dumb because he dueled us under an acid spray in a tower. But the RNG just didn't favor us, so it ends up being a death. I will say, though, that as a mentality of an Alchemist player, getting into fights like that in the first place is probably the last thing on your list of priorities. It's like, I'm looking at this game and I say, okay, they have a lot of cores, and the probability of us winning the late game is pretty slim. So what's the best way I can win this game? Like, what gives me the best chance to win? And that is basically just sticking to my farming pattern, making sure that I'm very efficient on the map, and dying the least amount I can. So that way I hit my timing perfectly, and I hit it so that I have like my 5 or 6 items at 30 minutes, and they can't beat me anymore, right? Like they can't kill me. That's like the best way to win in a situation like this. There will be some games where you feel like, okay, maybe we can go a bit later. We don't have to end by like 30 or 35. There's some good Aghanims on my team. I can buy those. You know, my hero doesn't just completely turn into crap after that, right? After that 30 to 35 minutes. But this game is kind of rough. Even though we do have some good Aghanims carriers, it's like a 4-core lineup with a Bloodlust. The chances of us winning late game are basically 0. Alright, so the Legion's on us again. This time he's not going to get the dual win. Oh, we do not want to run into an Ursa. Ursa is power. But yeah, situations like this even are the ones you kind of want to avoid. Because you're in a game where you're playing a hero that he's an economic hero. He's not a fighter. If your team shows up and they're trying to fight, just ignore them. Like, it sounds harsh, but just... You're playing a hero that needs to amass large quantities of gold to be useful, and you are not going to amass that gold even by winning fights, right? Now, sure, at very, very high level, say you had a point into, you know, concoction or something, and then you said, alright, maybe I can justify this fight because I have a stun. But, you know, even at level 10, you would have, like, 1 point in a concoction if you don't get the talent. It's still not that useful. Alright, so this guy goes for the duel again. Once again, overestimating our survivability. And ends up being our death. But the main issue with this one is not even understanding the hero limitation as much. It's just your mentality in the game, where you feel like, I want to fight this guy because he's under my tower. Like, it's already been proven that this guy is going to run into you, regardless of circumstance. So... when I'm in a game like that, and I see someone just, like, full bore just going for me over and over and over again like that, you're gonna want to just sit in the jungle. Like, I know it's not something that people love to see, but again, we talked about Alchemist and his ability to hit large quantities of creeps. That's what you want. It's not the quality of the creep for Alchemist, it's the quantity. So you're gonna hit more creeps in the jungle, you're going to have less deaths. People aren't really going to know where you are because you're just not showing. And unless they have wards, which at this bracket is like a 50-50, you don't know if they have wards or not. If you randomly get ganked in the jungle, maybe you can deduce that they have wards. But like that camp right there, that's what you want. You want the golems, you want the trolls, you want the satyrs. All those camps are great for Alchemists. And now that we saw a couple of heroes showing in the top lane, we feel pretty good about approaching bot. And that's fine. If you're confident in your map awareness and you see a fight going on the opposite side of the map, by all means, push the wave. That is like the most ideal thing, is to be able to push the wave and farm jungle at the same time. But if you can't, just remember that it's okay to just sit in the woods. Play safe, secure the easy farm. There is absolutely nothing wrong with that. Your teammates might ping you, they might, you know, rage, whatever. Completely ignore everything that they're doing and saying. Because I promise you, on a hero like Alchemist, just having your farm when you should have it is enough. Alright, so we're kind of getting into an interesting fight here. We're going to be TPing out. Probably could have killed them, actually, because the Viper Strike was going to end, and we still had a lot of time on our Chemical Rage. So we could probably kill both of those heroes, but it's fine. Like, in spirit of the stuff that I've been talking about, I don't even care that you TP'd out there. I'm going to say, alright, you missed 2 kills, whatever, doesn't matter. Just keep hitting creeps. That is priority number 1 and will always be priority number 1.
Radiant structures are fortified.
Alright, nice. We got the troll spawns. I will say, if you're playing Alch and you ever kill that big troll first, that's a big no-no. You want to make sure that thing spawns skeletons every single time. That is very easy gold for an Alch, especially once your Radiance is out. So now, we have our Radiance Draskyl. I'd say it's about 3 or 4 minutes late. But, you know, we got it. So that's what matters. We're still the highest net worth. Not by a wide margin, but, you know, it's enough. We see a guy kind of out of position. We throw our concoction on him. We can see a bunch of heroes showing on the map. And this guy should be dead.
Dire's middle
Nice.
tower is under attack.
Good kill.
Dire's
Noticed there was stuff happening elsewhere. Found an opportunity. And we took advantage. That's good. Now, if it were me in this game, I would probably contemplate going Yasha, Blink, Manta, or I would contemplate just going Blink and then full Manta. Blink Dagger is a completely necessary Alch item now. A lot of people use it as an initiation tool because that's like one of the big things that your hero lacks. Alright, we reacted a bit slow here, but we might still be okay. We're going to have to do some juking if we want to live. Yeah, we're probably going to die here.
Dire's bottom tower is under
Okay, so there was a fair amount of panic. Our Brewmaster decided that he also wanted to be dead. Let's review how this happened. I want to see if there's any tell. So I heard the Ursa noise, but I'm not sure if you heard it in-game. Maybe you did, maybe you didn't. But this wave is still pretty scary to push, right? Because we killed the Viper a little bit ago. And let's assume that once we kill a hero, there's going to be a reaction on the map somewhere. Like, it might not necessarily be at us, but we killed this guy. He died right here. The wave is going to be pushing up, which means that it's really close to the tower. If it's close to the tower, there's a high probability that heroes will be here because they want to defend, right? So the way that we say that this death is avoidable is we look at the position of where the creeps are going to be. We look at the fact that we had already killed the Viper, and we say, in all likelihood, there will be a reaction to this. So because we know that there's going to be a reaction, we can just choose not to go to this creep wave. Because again, like, there's a lot of heroes missing off the map right now. We can't see the TB, but he's up there. The Ogre's gone, and so is a Legion. And it's been a while before we actually, like, saw any type of reaction to it. So that's how we avoid this death, is we just make that judgment in our head and we say, you know what, we just killed this guy down here. We should probably not stick around. And, you know, maybe you get lucky and maybe you juke. If you were to juke this, you would actually want to run straight down and to the right into the tree line, and then you would do like, okay, turn off my Radiance and TP, right? Like, that's the high level play. But I don't care about that, really. All I care about is that it was actually quite obvious that they would be there. Alright, so we died. We're gonna fast forward through the death so we can get back into the nitty-gritty. Looks like a bunch of our teammates died too. But we're going for the Manta first. We're not going to go for the Blink Dagger. Blink Dagger is insanely good. Not even just for fighting, but for farming as well. Keep in mind that mobility is key. Okay, so this movement I want to talk about. Okay, so where did we just die? Like, just as a general thing. When you die, you need to keep note of where you were when you died. And then, since we died, like, in bot lane, around right here, what is the path of least resistance to the enemy doing more stuff, right? Okay, well, this tower is dead, which means they won't be there. And then we have, like, the mid lane, and then our jungle. So because this tower is dead, there's nothing stopping the enemy team from just walking into our woods. So by walking into this portion of the map, we are dragging ourselves back towards not only where we just died, but to where it is very easy for the enemy team to have just walked here because we died in the place where they can walk from. So it's, I would say if I respawn here, I either TP top or I walk to the top shrine. Those are the two absolute safest points on the map. And yes, of course, I can see the heroes, but I would say that if I could see nothing. If I didn't have a single ward on the map, I still would TP top because they don't have a tower here. And the only other hero that would likely be on this side of the map at this point in the game is Terrorblade. And I don't care about Terrorblade because he can't solo kill me. So we can already say that even if we don't die here, this movement is not ideal because it puts us more in harm's way than we need to be. Alright, so Legion's doing Legion things again. She's actually going to end up dying for that one, which is nice.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Okay, so now that the Legion's dead, and we saw someone showing in the top lane as well, this side of the map suddenly feels a lot safer, right? So like we TP top because we see a free lane. But actually we could probably go 2 or 3 waves here. Yeah, I don't mind this TP. This is okay.
A dominating performance.
So the Ursa walked to the mid lane. And we know there's no tower. So we actually have some time. We can farm this out, we can walk to the right, we can farm the large camp, then we can farm this camp if we're feeling super frisky, and then we can just walk back up and kill another wave. And this is also where the blink comes in. Because the blink dagger allows you to freely farm in the lane, and then if you're quick enough, you can just instantly blink out, right? And then you don't have to worry about someone like Ursa, for example, just straight up killing you.
Impossible kill.
Alright, so the Ursa's killing our team. It's looking a bit rough right now. Okay, so let's go to free camp for a sec. We're going to play the game for about that much. Okay, so I just wanted the enemy team's vision to reveal. So we look at the map. This guy is dying. The Ursa has already killed a bunch of people in the mid lane, which is unfortunate. This guy is sitting up here, you know, 700 HP. This guy is scared, right? This guy's terrified. And we can probably, you know, say that the ogre is somewhere in the vicinity. We don't have to walk back right now. We don't have to walk back here. And the reason we don't have to walk back is because we see pretty much every single piece of information that we need to say, okay, I can still sit in the top lane. This guy might sunder me, whatever. You know, maybe I chase him off the wave. Maybe I push the tower to the tier 2. Maybe I kill this camp. Maybe I kill their ancients. Maybe I kill this. Again, no tower, no tower. So it would actually take quite a while for anyone to reasonably react to you being on their side of the map. And the reason that this is important is not from necessarily a map pressure standpoint, but just an overall efficiency. Like, think of all the camps that you can hit. You can hit 1, 2, if this camp is up, that would be 3, 4, right? And then once those camps are dead, if the enemy team has left mid, which I think at this point they probably will, because Ursa just can't hit buildings that well, then their whole jungle is dead, and you walk back down here to your camps that are still spawned, right? So you're basically taking away farm from them, giving farm to yourself, and making it so that you have more overall places on the map to be. And then you save these camps for when you can't physically be over here because the enemy team has all backed. So once again, it's map position. It's understanding that this guy showed and the Legion showed. These are the 2 scary heroes for me. These are the 2 heroes that will pretty much just put me in the ground. So with that being said, the other thing that we can note at this point in the game, if we have been clicking on enemy heroes, is that the Legion does not have Blink. And this is one of the most important aspects of playing any hero like Alch when you want to try to maximize your efficiency. You can look at it from the perspective of, if they don't have Blink, they basically cannot kill you. I would absolutely not even be looking at this. This is some Monka-S. Okay, so we actually got the Aegis. Should be careful once he gets unstunned. Okay, he didn't have Enrage. That's good.
Thanks for playing Dota 2.
So, that fight worked out, but I want people to not fall prey to the whole, like, oh, it works, so it must be the correct thing to do. In these types of games, when you're looking at a situation like that and the enemy team is at your tower, you gotta have a lot of faith in your teammates that they're gonna do the correct thing. Like, we almost died, right? What happens if the Ursa gets like 1 more hit on us and we just fall over there because we didn't have enough damage? Then that suddenly becomes really, really bad, even if we kill them both. So I would say that we probably went a little bit too early. And that if we wait a couple more seconds, it's a lot safer, and then the kills are fine. But the way that we took it, we put ourselves in harm's way. And it was not necessary to do that. We should probably be popping our Chemical Rage, just for the regen. Our mana pool is not looking so hot right now. Oh, found him. Oh, that was very close, actually. The blind almost saved you, but your concoction still ended up popping on yourself. If you had gotten it off on the Legion, I think you live there, and that guy probably also dies. Would have been a big turn. So that was unlucky. I was going to mention, let's go back and take a look at the map again, so we can go back a little bit farther. Okay, so right here, like, you already know you're scared, right? You already don't want to be on this side of the map. So what's another play that we could make that would make this entire thing just not even happen, right? Or if it does happen, we're not involved. So we go to free cam, play it for a second. Okay, so we see that there's a lot of people down here. But if we just don't want to be on this side of the map and we feel like, hey, you know, there's a tier 1. Chances are, if there's a tier 1, there's going to be some hero nearby if the wave is being pushed into this tower. So if there's a hero nearby and we don't want to be here, we can just say, hey, you know, my entire triangle is up right now. I don't know what that graphical bug is, but it's definitely not a good one. But the whole, the entirety of this triangle is up. So the ancients are up, the medium camp's up. You can't see it, but the large camp is actually there too. So at this point, if we just say, hey, you know, I don't want to be bought, this camp's dead, this camp's dead, this camp's dead, there's a lot of walking that I need to do in order to get anywhere that I'm going to be able to accumulate gold. Why not just instantly TP here? Just TP top, because there's nothing else to kill on your side of the map. This is the only place besides like this large camp in the Ancients that you're going to be able to go where you can actually get gold. So even if you didn't think that there was anyone like immediately about to kill you, you could just as easily say it doesn't matter because there's nothing for me to farm and I should TP here anyway because this is where my gold is. That is some kind of bug. Alright, so we're gonna... We already saw this death basically, but this was actually quite close. I would say that that guy had about an equal chance of dying first as you did. Alright, so we're gonna fast forward past this. We are dead. The other thing that's really hurting is not having the blink. It is such a huge deal to have blink on this hero. Imagine if that guy walks up to you like that, and since you had time to Manta, you could have assumed that you would have also had time to blink, right? Because they're both basically just one key press. So blink, and then you click the ground, or if you use quick cast, you just blink, right? Because it just goes to wherever your cursor is. But if you had blink, you just blink away. And then you would live. So there's actually multiple ways that you could have not died there. So now we TP top. I think this TP is, or sorry, we walked top. We didn't even TP. I think this is perfectly acceptable, just to walk up here, hit some Ancients. We're gonna want to think about walking to that mid lane here in just a second. And we have a ward. So we see the Ogre and the Legion right now. And a Terrorblade Illusion. So we cannot stay here. We basically have to, yeah, pop the Manta, have them kill the creeps, and then just walk it off. Ooh, the Ursa's actually standing right here. Okay, that's unfortunate. Alright, let's go back. See what happened. Alright, so we're farming this camp. We actually did see the Ursa. Or, we saw the Terrorblade, sorry. Saw the Terrorblade. Did we see the Ursa at all? But again, this kind of goes in line with what I was saying earlier. Like, we died here, and then we walk back to where we died. This is kind of a consistent theme, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, we see these two heroes with the wards, so we think that we have time, but in reality, we're walking towards a point in the map where we had just died. So, the kind of mentality that I like to use is if I died there, if I don't see anything else happening on the map past the time that I've died, I'm not going to go that way again. And this, the way that you walked is kind of near where they were when you died. Alright, so that death was pretty painful, because we had like basically just respawned. We lose a couple more heroes. We're still dead, we're saving our buyback. Okay. So we're up again. We've popped our concoction. Okay, we stunned ourselves. In that situation, Blink would have let us get the stun off.
Alright, so we get a kill on the Viper. But you can tell, like at this point in the game,
This will do nicely.
that they're like our net worth not being like double what it is right now. It's actually all pretty simple stuff. Like just following basic guidelines. Like if I just died here, nothing else happened between my death and me respawning, probably not safe to walk towards this part of the map. I want to be able to get Blink after I finish my Radiance, whether it be after the Yasha or before. Just make sure you don't go the whole Manta, and definitely do not ever skip Blink. Blink is just unbelievably good for farming, for getting out of ganks, for killing, like getting pickoffs and stuff. That's how the Alchemist players become such a menace, is like you get the Blink, and then your concoction becomes like a stun initiation that allows you to get like what, 5 or 6 hits off, and then that hero just dies. There's not a lot of heroes in the game that can live through that kind of damage, especially with how quickly you're gonna have it. Alright, so we get a nice kill on the Legion. That's our level 20. I believe that's our concoction damage talent. Yeah, it is. So we have the -8, we got the damage, we now have the unstable concoction damage as well. This Roche is incredibly optimistic. This is not a Roche I would try to go for. Our heroes are not very good at hitting it. And it also, again, doesn't really go with the gameplay theory that we want as Alk, which is just get money. Like, we might even get it, honestly, but there's an equal chance that they fight us, and that fight might not be good. Because the Brewmaster doesn't have split. Yeah, the TV is going to send an illusion in here. We got the chemical rage on at least. And the enemy team runs at us. So we can no longer be here. Yeah, we have to run now. We definitely do not commit to this. We throw the stun and we bail.
Thanks for playing Dota 2. Double kill.
Alright, so the Ogre dies. We go 2 for 2. But the real issue is that we're giving up Roche now.
Roshan has fallen to the dark.
This is one of the main reasons why I always say, like, for these types of heroes, like your Anti-Mages, your Alchemists, your Terrorblades, any, like, super farm-reliant hero, is even if your team is, like, raging at you, even if they're like, oh, just come fight, the important thing is that you ignore it, because you understand the functionality of your hero to a degree that you can't commit to these battles. You just can't. Like, every single time you've walked to a fight past the laning phase, it's basically just been death. Like, every single time. In the jungle, we died twice in the lane because we didn't understand our hero limitations, and also because we just thought that we could fight him under the tower, and we were wrong. But if you just... like, all the reasons that we die individually don't really matter, because every single one of them is still outside of the realm of gameplay that we're looking for. Which is, get money. Get money. Don't stop getting money. Every opportunity you have, get money. It's less important that you kill enemy heroes as Alchemists than it is that you just acquire your items at the right times. So we're going to have a bit of a self-stun here. And I think we ended up dying to the Ursa. Yep. So there might be a ward here. I'm not sure. Or he just casually walked up and killed you. I would say at this point, like, you know, we're 19k behind. I'm an Alk. I don't have my Blink yet. We're kind of looking rough on the item progression department. It's 29 minutes in. We should basically have double the net worth we have now. Like, roughly. An average Alchemist game, I would say that you could probably get 900 to 1,000 GPM pretty consistently, regardless of hero matchup, unless you are, like, truly, truly being hunted. Which at this bracket, I think will never happen. So just from a net worth standpoint, we're about half of what we should be.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack. Radiant structures are falling.
So if we're talking about 6-slot, the normal build is like Radiance, and then you go Yasha Blink or Blink Manta, either one. You're going to finish the Manta either way. And then some people will choose to go Octarine, which I think is fine. In this game, I think Octarine also would have been fine. And then you're going to want an armor item, so either Shiva's or AC. And then you contemplate your BKB. If you want a BKB, in this game, there are a few stuns, a Viper. You know, Ogre's kind of annoying. I'd say BKB would be fine. So we're talking Blink, Radiance, Manta, BKB, Octarine, and then your boots, right? Now, the item progression, as far as what you make, is as important as when you get it. There will be some games where your Radiance is going to be like 13, 12 minutes, and that game's going to feel amazing, because you're going to have it so fast that your next item comes out like 2 minutes sooner. And that might not seem like a lot, but in the grand scheme of things, for every item that you get, considering the Radiance and the Yasha and the Blink are all farm accelerants, because you're getting those faster, every item on top of that gets exponentially faster. So if I have my Radiance and my Blink Dagger at like 16, then I'm farming like 900 to 1000 GPM for the rest of the game, unless I'm dead. That's just how Alchemist works. And that's the main reason why the hero is so strong, is because if the enemy team does not physically stop you from hitting the creeps, you will consistently have that level of GPM. It just requires very basic map awareness and understanding of how to farm efficiently. That's it. Once you get those two things down, you will like crush it every single game. But that's the entire game, basically. I think we covered more or less everything that is very, very important to understand on playing the Alchemist. But if anyone has any questions regarding the replay before we call it a day, I'll be more than happy to take them. A lot of the fights don't seem very one-sided. You have to keep in mind, like, this is a Legend game, right? So I think this is like 3K to high 3K MMR, something like that. Everyone in this game is going to be playing a wide variance of skill, right? Maybe there's one guy who only plays, like, I don't know, maybe he's a techie spammer and techies got banned. Like, I don't know. At this level, it's very likely that some people playing the heroes that they're on have maybe played them less than 10 times. So if that's the case, then from an efficiency standpoint and a how to use your abilities correctly standpoint, most people are not going to do that, like, ever. So because of those reasons, the fights that look like they should be going well sometimes just don't go well, because the abilities are pressed incorrectly, or they don't have the right items, or they, you know, fed their lane, or whatever other reason. TLDR of the game, we tried to push early, but consistently lost fights. Not sure why we lost those fights. Well, that's why replay analysis is important. You have to go back over the game, and you have to look at everything that happens and be objective and say, hey, okay, this happened here. Is there anything else that I personally could have done? That's the important thing about Dota, is understanding what you can do differently. Don't focus on your team. Focus on, oh, in this situation, I could do this or this, and it would be better than what I did. When do you use Acid Spray once you get Radiant? Seems like it's almost a waste unless it's Ancients. So I do it on the lane, and I do it on Ancients. You will not need Acid Spray to kill like most camps, that's true. But you can put them on the Ancient camps and you put them on the lane. Because sometimes, like you'll Manta, you'll use the Radiance Illusions to push with a spray, and it kills the wave faster. And then you go to the jungle, you kill a few camps, make your way to the Ancient, spray again, rinse and repeat. That's why the Octarine is important, by the way. Because you're going to want that cooldown reduction so you can continually do that. Okay, so looks like most of the questions pertaining to this game have been answered. I want to thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed this replay. If you guys want to catch me live, you can do it on Twitch TV/Draskyl, same as it's spelled on the YouTube. I also have a Twitter as well if you want to follow me there. It's twitter.com/DraskylDota2 with a TWO. Hope you guys are having a great day. See you next time.